All right. Good morning, everyone. We'll start with Lamrim Kappa Guru Puja, and then what else? Refuge in Bodhicitta, I reckon. It's a good. All right. Good morning, everyone. We'll start with Lamrim Kappa Guru Puja, and then what's happening? What else? Refuge in Bodhicitta, I reckon. It's a good. Holy moly. All right. Good morning, everyone. Okay. Enough is enough. From the heart of the server of the hand deities of Tushita on the peak of clouds and resounding a clap from screaming white fresh curd. King of Dhamma and listen, Lost and Drapa, please come here together with your sons. In the sky before me on lying throne, lotus and moon, my perfect pure guru smiles with delight. Supreme fill of merit from a mind of faith, please abide for 100 years to spread the teachings. Your holy mind is the intelligence that understands the full extent of objects to be known. Your holy speech, with its excellent explanation, is an ear ornament for those of good fortune. Your holy body is radiantly beautiful with glory renowned. To you are meaningful to see, hear, and remember are prostrate. Pleasant drinking water, various flowers, fragrant incenses, lights, scented waters, and so forth. Oceans of cloud-like offerings, both actually arranged and mentally emanated. I offer to you the supreme field of merit. Whatever non-virtue of body, speech, and mind, especially those opposite to the three vows that I've collected from beginningless time, I confess each and every one with fervent regret from my heart. You strove for much learning and practicing this degenerate age and made your freedoms and richnesses meaningful by abandoning the 8 worldly concerns. Savor with sins and indulge in your extensive deeds. Perfect pure holy gurus on the billion clouds of wisdom and compassion in the sky of the Dhammakaya. Please let fall a rain of fun and extensive Dhamma upon the receptacles of those to be subdued exactly as they need. May whatever virtue I've collected benefit the teachings and all transmigrated beings, and in particular may cause the essence of perfect pure loss and Dragpa's teachings to shine forever. Sa-shi po-ki ju-shi-me-to Kamri-ra-pri-shi Ni-de-ge-pa-ri Sa-ye-shi-tu Mi-te-o Hi-ro-ku-na-da Shi-la-chu-par-shu. By the merits of having offered this mandala to Lama Tsongkhapa and his 2 sons, may I, my family members, and all sentient beings be able to meet, practice, and actualize the teachings of the victorious one, Losang Drapa. Or the morality of an eminently pure way of life was courageous and extensive conduct of the sons of the victorious ones, and accomplished the yoga of 2 stages of supreme bliss and emptiness. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamniyatayami. By the force of having fervently requested in this way for all beings of white light are emitted from the hearts of the perfect pure Father and Sons, and combining into one enter my crown. White nectar, the color of milk, flows from the opening of tube of white light, cleansing all my sicknesses, spirit harms, negative karmas, and their imprints without exception. My body becomes as pure and clear as crystal. We will recite the 5-line Mixima verse 3 times. Mimete wete chen chen re zi jime kimbe wongbo jambe yang do puma le zhongze sangwe da kan chen kimbe tsugin tsonga lo sang chabe shaka so wande mimete wete chen chen re zi jime kimbe wongbo jambe
Lobo Malin Jomse Samveda Kanchin Kimbe Tsujin Tsungka Losan Chabe Shala Sorwan De Mesewe De Jinshin Rezi Chime Kimbe Wambu Jambe Lobo Malin Jomse Samveda Kanchin Kimbe Tsujin Tsungka Losan Chabe Shala Sorwan De Sanji Chedan Soji Chonum La Changju Bardu Dami Gyabsun Dagi Chushi Jiban de Dagi Rolan Penshi Sanji Drupara Shu Sanji Chedan Soji Chonum La Changju Bardu Dami Gyabsun Dagi Chushi Jiban de Dagi Rolan Penshi Sanji Drupara Shu Sanji Chedan Sojin Chonum La Changji Bardu Dami Gyabsun Geban de Dagi Rolan Penshi Sanjin Drubar Shu Kangi Tuzini Soni Tawa Tamji Pambi Chere Tambi Chun Dunzi Kodam Chela Changze Lo Good morning, everyone. Anzu Sa Pasangi Zendati Shini Dribi Kaptula Leshas.
We've been looking at Lamrim Kappa's presentation of the steps of the path to enlightenment. We've been looking at the middling presentation, and we have reached the section that covers the way to cultivate the concentration of calm abiding, shamatha.
Sabasan Lamrim Ring, a Minton Sanimalaya, and on the progress, Nikabrina, and the Karanzo took the shadow cheese.
And so for the time being, what we'll do is we'll study this text on Fridays, and we've recently finished looking at mind training like the rays of the sun for the Sunday morning teaching. So Geshe will continue with the presentation of the Lamrim also on Sunday. So please keep it in mind. The sessions will also be available online. So if you cannot be here on Sunday, then the sessions are going to be on YouTube, and you can watch them on your own time.
Tadiresha, Sandrase. Tingin Zungumbala Metroshin, Mintushala Gavi, Lelon Comanina, Tambunini, Tingins and Juk to Metrish, Linchik, Topjan, Gin to Minubi, New to Nyambanjuru said.
And so we're going to pick up from the presentation of the way to develop calm abiding, and we have reached the section that explains the way to generate faultless concentration, which consists of 3 points. And the first one is what to do before focusing the mind on the object. And so this section says, if you cannot put an end to laziness, which delights not in cultivating concentration, but rather in the opposite, it will prevent you from engaging in concentration all along. And even if you have achieved it once, it cannot possibly be durable and will therefore deteriorate quickly. For this reason, it is of great importance to put an end to laziness from the start.
The Mangsha this Kingis, the Dingin said, Ketchambushuchik, number Sanjivi, the Chunalaya, Ketchishut, Kansana. So Dangan Church at it, they were driven the Dungas Chedimba, and they do this similar to Yoba, same Tea, and it's same the Sibuchidan, Tembuchi, Tindijik Tony, and they were driven to Yoba, same the 아니 참 많이 봐 마세바 아니 지금 몸바당 아니 착당을 소비 샤원도 줄바이나 아니 동화 용대바 디 우유 내주인자 this 세약 체도 탑대셔야지 아니 신내다 방동 접수기 돈이 방동 접이거니 아니 대화 접당 그런 바디다 남아산지비 치우다 그게 임보로도 차기도 왔어.
And so this section teaches the way to cultivate the concentration, a particular type of concentration that is called calm abiding or shamatha. And so many of you know the importance of cultivating concentration. So first of all, when we consider the importance of concentration, we recognize that the purpose of our Dharma practice is to bring about happiness and well-being and to alleviate the suffering and pain that we experience. And so that depends upon the mind. Cultivating happiness and removing suffering, dispelling suffering depends upon our mind, and our mind in turn needs to be clear and stable. If we develop clarity and stability in our mind, we can use that, we'll be able to use that to cultivate happiness. Whereas if our mind remains unbalanced, unclear, if it is affected by confusion, by disturbing emotions such as anger, attachment, and such, we will experience suffering or pain. And this is reality. This is how it works. When a mind is confused, governed by anger, attachment, and so forth, we suffer. And so we develop the means for dispelling those sufferings through cultivating a concentration of calm abiding, and also we cultivate special insight. And so in fact, the cultivation of these two constitute of the most important states that we need to cultivate in our mind from the point of view of Buddhism. This is the essence of the Buddha Dharma, the cultivation of calm abiding and special insight. And therefore, here in this section of the text, at this point in time, we're looking at the cultivation of a concentration of shamatha, calm abiding.
오늘이 대해서 균선 된지 통에다 땡인준 주고 그랬어. 더 땡인준 주버 채발이야. 땡인준 주 문주ken기다. 주발이야. 고개 칭인기 조디 레로레스. 레로디 감디기 레로디다. 지당 자왕인 신기 레로소르지. 간지 샘 착당기 완도 중인기 샘티 아니 감디기 레로라 샤고가 사레스라.
And so for this reason, we cultivate concentration. And so this section of the text first of all explains the things which prevent us from engaging in the cultivation of concentration, adversities for the practice of concentration, to begin with laziness. And though there are different types of laziness, here the particular type of laziness that Lama Tsongkhapa mentions is laziness of being attracted to activities which are ignoble, which means in short, when a mind is governed by anger, attachment, and so forth, when it is swayed by anger, attachment, and so forth, we become lazy. This is the type of laziness, first off, that prevents us from engaging in concentration.
렌디나노라야 땡인즈 공발라 무조신 디 민튼초라 가위 레로스 땡인즈기 민튼초 땡인즈기 민튼초라 가위 레로든 고만이나 아니 땡인지 죽드 미터신세 딘디 레로지 송고도 아스라.
So let's look at how Lama Tsongkhapa Rinpoche presents that. At the beginning of the section, he says, if you cannot put an end to laziness, which delights in not cultivating concentration, but rather in the opposite, it will prevent you from engaging in concentration all along. And even if you achieved it once, it cannot possibly be durable and will therefore deteriorate quickly.
레다 땡인즈기 민튼초 땡인진디 비기게 미바치글야 땡니 데야디 땡인진기 된다레스다 샘치글야 땡니 아니 대야다 마가와선한다 데무투바 아니 지 가사 칼라야 셈 아니 인데티 아니 감디게 레로레스
So here, laziness is described as that which does not delight in cultivating concentration, but rather in the opposite, which means that the type of concentration that we seek to develop is a concentration that is attending to a single object. It is single-pointedly attentive to one object. What is opposite to that concentration is a mind that is all over the place. So when a mind becomes all over the shop or all over the place, it roams between different things uncontrollably. This is the opposite of concentration, and here it is called laziness.
테레딘자 테딘디기 레로딘 고발이야 딘디 레로딘 고발이야 아니 땡인 징기 연된 통고 그랬어 라 땡인 징기 연된 통이 땡인 징야 주발이야 가비 로직 주마투나 데니 카부레스.
And so in order to put a stop to laziness, we need to see the good qualities of concentration. Without seeing the good qualities of concentration, it'd be hard to put a stop to laziness. This is what we recognize, the good qualities of concentration.
데라 루섬 가디 기비 신장 톱나 인생 군도 개월을 줘라야 교도 문종위 레로 도고 대개발의 신장 기비 규 땡인질라 종리 군데 좀 내바지 고소 대개발의 땡인질라 되니 군도 못하고 군데만 고소 디규 땡인진기 용된 통이 육초비 대바템 고비 땡인진기 용된 셈비 대바양 공부차데스 땡인진기 용된 통이 대바양 공부차데 온달레 내가 텔 내바다 규던 제빈도 시소스.
And so Lama Tsongkhapa says in this vein, now if you achieve pliancy and your body and mind expand with bliss, you will not be weary day or night. And in applying yourself to virtue, and laziness will thereby be stopped. To generate it, you must be able to continuously maintain joyous effort for concentration, the cause for generating pliancy. To generate that, you need the intense, sustained aspiration of striving for concentration. To engender that, you need the firm faith of captivation from seeing the excellent qualities of concentration. Therefore, you should cultivate that faith by repeatedly reflecting on the excellent qualities of concentration, as Maitreya said in his distinguishing the middle from the extremes. The basis, that which is based on the cause, the effect.
다 디숭구여서래 아니 땡인진기 연된 통고 그래스. 다 땡인진기 연된 통출 될야 다니레 그래서로 지 땡인진 검니 땡인지 깨니 땡인진기 연된 용외점니로 용외점니다. 류소 신장의 대화를 써봐 수수 용외점니 땡인진기 연된 통주 지 연구여래스. 대딩은서 레탐보라 카보로스. 다지 가르레스 라운디 아니 깨부 담바 속 개비 온보 깨부 담바 속에 아니 숑라야 아니 때니 디니 땡인진기 연된 셰샤바디 아니 네번이와 쳐야디 땡인진기 연된 통이다 규메드모로 찍차고레스 딘상 아니 운타마다니 땡인진기 연된 통주 소야디 안졸라야 타티 탑티니네 매바인자 아니 딜리 통주 송고였어레스와.
And so what is established here is that we need to see the qualities of concentration in order to put a stop to laziness. So how do we go about and see the qualities of concentration? Well, one way to do that would be through generating concentration. So meditating on concentration, generating it, developing an experience of concentration. Through that, we'll come to see the qualities of concentration. But it's quite hard, isn't it? Particularly for us as beginners, since we're not yet at a stage of development in which that would be easily done. Then for the time being, we rely upon teachings by great masters, so great masters of the past, those foremost scholars that have composed explanations, scriptural explanation of the qualities of concentration. So that become an indispensable cause for us for developing an appreciation for the qualities of concentration. And this is what Maitreya here refers to in his distinguishing the middle from the extreme. He refers to the stages by which we cultivate the causes for dispelling laziness through the basis, that which is based on the cause and the effect. So it is indispensable for us, it seems that currently there is no other way to overcome laziness other than to follow this process.
어디리다 이제 연된 초그리 와 세월다 라 연된 참모든지 당한주 명의 처벌로 지금 레와스로 소소비기 소소데스라 파데 아니 로종로체 비기 로종네 코랑라야 상로다니 아니 가주 데토가 디츠기 딩링라야다 아니 류데부 셈데부다 용구도 왔으라 쇼경하고 야랑 안 소소소 비기 간전치고인데 디치라야 되네 대대바이나 기부도 왔어 따진데 막 지금 태운디 되니 비기게 따와민든사 담식 민든사 다딘지 메더 투원디 아니 샘드랑시 긴 추용야지 용구여라스라 디 아니 땡인즈 접당 거 담보 니 베니 사자마다 촉상와 세기 촉상부 세 디톤 송용도 왔으라 딘자 안지 뒤츠데 스라바이나 안지 소소소 아니 비기 데사텔이야 데치니 아니 추근닐루사나만두 덴신닐루라서와데 직상단 데토바이나 야자야단바 아니 땡인지 기위 규차그레스 땡인지 기발에 무조에 레로티 고셰기 임봉원이디 딘지 제토그서레스라
And so currently we have, you might say, partial qualities of concentration. So then we want to improve them, to develop them. And for that end, we remain in one place. We study the Dhamma. We attend the mind to what we study. We take up a daily practice. And we can see based upon a personal experience as we go on with that it makes our mind, our body and mind, makes them well. And so if we develop a daily practice as we wake up in the morning and we sit for a daily meditation or recitation and so forth, it provides the mind with some happiness, with well-being. Whereas if we remain in places in which we have disagreements with others, our views are clashing, or the way that we communicate with others or others communicate with us is also discordant, not in agreement, we know that this is something that doesn't cause us happiness or well-being. When we look at the prerequisites for cultivating the concentration of calm abiding, one of the points that was made was with respect to the company that we keep. Naman Tsongkhapa was referring to having to create those conducive conditions in terms of having good friends or good company for the cultivation of calm abiding. And so we assemble those favorable conditions. We also set some time for cultivating such concentration. And we begin that through studying, for example, we study the four truths. We continue to think of the four truths. All of these act as causes for developing concentration. All of these will form the antidote, the actual antidote to laziness, which prevents us from cultivating concentration.
Teresa, didn't Java Teresa, Untagi, Zawad Mardani, Telia, Deshich, Songundoa, Jeromchik, Netan, Tella, never the Judan Jivanitos, she, Tella, Nini, Dumbatis, Zoasan, Zonjuni. Never knit so zonjuris. Dumbi gu yonden la yichibi tebao. So when Jebu Shinjang souls.
And so Lama Tsongkhapa here speaks of the causes for putting a stop to laziness. And he draws from Maitreya's distinguishing the middle from the extreme, which says the basis, that which is based on the cause and the effect, and he explains what it means. It says here the basis is aspiration, which is the basis of effort. That which is base of it is effort or joyous effort. The cause of aspiration is the faith of conviction with regards to the excellent qualities. The effect of effort is pliancy.
늘 공부 차비 땡인 진기 연대니 가르레스란다 신내 좀나 셈라 가와당 룰라 대와 기비 통출라 대와네 바당 르섬 신도 장 신장 예비 셈 기비 미벌라 칸 된데도 코드로한당 라완 메바 신줄로기 율라 이원 신이스 니주 몽부 문종시 개와 강치 또비체바당 신일라 때니 운시의 준추 속이 용되는 줍 니바당 캬퍼도 텔라 때니 돈이 또비 상동기 또버기비 코위자와 뉴도 좀 니바 속이 용된 강 삼나 땡인즈 곰발라 조슈페와 뉴바는 시버 첼라 곰디 디키나 나니 땡인즈 곰발라 균도 꾸리 땡인즈 톱하시 톱네냐야 곰발라 주비
And so explaining the process by which we put a stop to laziness, it says the excellent qualities of the concentration to be cultivated here are as follows. Once concentration has been accomplished, mental happiness and physical comfort greatly increase, so that you are always happy in this lifetime. From acquiring physical and mental pliancy, the mind is fit to be placed on any virtuous object at will. Since uncontrolled distraction towards mistaken objects has subsided, you rarely commit faulty conduct, and whatever virtue you perform has great strength. In reliance upon shamatha, you can achieve excellent qualities such as clairvoyance and miraculous powers, and in particular, the realization of special insight that realizes emptiness so that the root of cyclic existence can be cut quickly. If you contemplate any of these and other excellent qualities, the power of your enthusiasm for cultivating concentration will increase. You should get to know them and meditate on them. Once this has arisen, it will constantly compel you from within to cultivate concentration so that you will easily attain it. And since you engage in the meditation and again, it will be very difficult for it to degenerate after you attain it.
Geshe di 땡인 중에 연된 가르레스 라운디 신일 좀나 셈라 가디 기비 통출라 데버니바티 조치그레스 테니 피기다 루숨 신장 토본디 셈 기비 미발야 아니 간 된데도 거드로지 차그레스 디차베 니갑소 아니 만준 남긴 안신기 라운 메바 아니 신줄로기 율라야 아니 셈 인데와디 ngangi shiro gres dishewa na ta nyeje mambu shu chiro nganzu ani nyeba mambu shu chlu nga yisam ko ton sa de nyeje mambu shu tagarang nga ro gres.
And so listing down the qualities of a concentration that is shamatha, it says once concentration has been accomplished, mental happiness and physical comfort greatly increase so that you're always happy in this life. And then from acquiring physical and mental pliancy, the mind is fit to be placed on any virtuous object at will. So a mind will become at will, not rather than being as remaining all over the place, wandering off to different objects. It will become at will, single pointedly placed upon an object. Since uncontrolled distraction towards mistaken objects has subsided, you rarely commit faulty conduct, which we normally do. And so we perform lots of negative actions of faulty behavior, physically, verbally, mentally. And so once concentration is cultivated, uncontrolled distraction towards mistaken objects has subsided, and we will rarely commit faulty conduct, and whatever virtue we perform will have great strength.
Terda nganzu 땡인지 만드비 갑들래 소수 샘도 소수기 다부 자마투 소르지라다 가사칼 인드비 갑들래더니 아니 삼로지다나 아니 미셴지기 께 gyön sam de to geje she na gyön ling de to ro ani chawa chena yang chi 간지 마탕와 제대지 디용데 참로 아니 신주로 남도게 왕 레버레스 니주도 참 레버레스 텐저 샘드 다보잖아 샘드 믹서 찍려야 테스 찍려야 된 데도 바나 니주디도 망부 쇼치 아니 랑신 가도레스 랑신 가도인디 아니 개와 가르쳐봐디 그 또부터 댐바치 또부터 댐바치 제토 그레스.
And so in thinking of the qualities of concentrations as described here, we'll look at that from the viewpoint of the faults of not having this type of concentration. So without concentration, we will not be taking control over our mind. And so long as the mind is out of control, we will still see faults in others. We will still find certain discussions, conversations, and so forth to be problematic. There would be issues and difficulties. We'll also not communicate with others honestly and so forth. All of this comes from a mind that is out of control. All faulty conduct arises from a mind that is out of control. And so this will be arrested once concentration is cultivated.
The ransom dabu jadre so ransom dabu jana dabu jasa ji gogras dabu jasa the same pig nyasa chesarode migba yabu chleya jogores migba tes migba di tembe yolaya migba di shago da tembe migba majana same di migba leya kaduna neaji yungu yabada shinni dribu kabita menga so di tiresha sira.
And so then we need to think of taking control over our mind. And to do so, we place the mind on an object of observation. It needs to be an object of observation for cultivating mindfulness, without which concentration will not be achieved. And so the next set of instruction is providing us instructions on the way to place the mind on an object of observation. This constitutes the main set of instructions with regards to cultivating concentration.
Tinza saji niba de lewarta di so ra miba ngosong ta niba la nis saji de kare da ya
De la
ngushitri gombe gombe ramba ni sheba sa din sar gombe ramba ngushit jowa da ngushin ni nan ngushiti shini ta shini gomsu ngushi shebi kabdula ya ta miba sam khalan jobi shi migba ngosons tel sem chedel tebi tsuls
dila migba tebe dusu jitawacha. All right, so what to do while focusing the mind on the object? This is the main instructions, and it consists of 2 points: how to identify the focal object that is the basis for the mind, and how to direct the mind towards it. So we'll begin with the way to identify the focal object that is the basis for the mind, which again consists of 2 points: the general presentation of objects and identification of objects specific situations.
ta thambula ni migba chi namsha tang kaus pabi migba ngoson thambula ni migba ngo temba kansa kangi kanla migba chawa temba was.
And so we'll begin with a general presentation that is the first point in the section explaining the way to identify the focal object that is the basis for the mind. And so the general presentation again consists of 2 main points: indicating the actual objects and indicating what person should meditate on which object.
Terda thambun chomden digi nenjubi migba shesong balas chomden digi jesun jungi ge ani kewu chongdi chesum yungyoras tigidele da 디낭기다 쪼디 깨운 린다 깨우 첨보 단nen저바 슬라운디기 쪼 타와드 탐진 김비 람 된딩기 아니 깨우들이야 nen저바시 슈초그레스라 이제 디기 드비카기 미발이야 시송요레스 미바 시테요레스.
And so indicating the actual objects begins with saying, although the 4 types of objects, the Blessed One, the Bhagavan, taught for the yogis here is referring in general, you can say, to those who follow the steps of the path of enlightenment. So the steps of the path of those of the small, the medium, and the great scopes. But particularly, yogis are those who are aiming at attaining the state of liberation from samsara. And so for these 4 types of objects were indicated. First, pervasive objects is fourfold.
시송발라 캐피 미바니스 캐파슬라운데 다 땡인즈 타달라야 캐바도지 숭고이키리 미바니 시디스 무초버 조바당 쇼비 미바니다 제다치니 용무빈 타당 곰춘 한마니 기고니 진짜 진이기 되는 곰비 닝규 토바니 고버드바디 쇼스.
And so out of those 4 objects, the first is called pervasive objects. I think that in the translation for the Lamrim Chemo, it was called universal objects of meditation. So these pervasive objects, universal objects, are of 4 types, 4 folds. The ones that you place the mind on without analyzing, those that are objects of analysis, the limits of phenomena, the ultimate mode of being, and things in their variety, and the accomplishment of a purpose, which is to achieve transformation through meditation by means of the previous 2 meditation methods that observe the ultimate mode of being and things in their variety.
제반남중 미발라니 생함을 되차당 세단당 때무당 아게당 남돌라 시치리 집이 님보 rum바신도 모두가 고미야 샴바 고미야 텐드 고미야 감기 라비에 고미야 우종음 곰비 미바 nga sonshas the kansa suzuki come the mebal teni and miba tigi teshas.
So the second type of objects that can be chosen are called objects that purify conduct. 5 meditation objects serve as antidotes to one's predominant conduct in previous lives. The repulsive, love-dependent arising, the divisions of the elements in one's breath, respectively, are the 5 objects that are antidotes to attachment, hatred, ignorance, pride, and conceptualization, which means that since we are people of different dispositions, we can choose objects for cultivating shamatha in relation to which afflictive emotions predominates in our mind.
Terda döcha shukchi ondi semdi döcha gcholaya shukchi gyuya di ani ta dingin zing mundu sho zoji chagwanza ta di gaya gchedu tinjigi kanza delaya kamla tweni ta mundu ba gomso di ani nimbu yashuji kabab chagiyosare.
And so, for example, if you face strong attachment, if that is the affliction that predominates in your mind, then it's obviously adverse to the development of concentration. And so in order to antidote strong attachment, you can choose to meditate on the unattractive aspects of an object, or here as the text calls it, you can choose an object that is repulsive in order to antidote attachment.
Terda shedangi nimbu chamba gomya ra ta nganzu chambi korda mambu shu konlaya shedan shu sares ra ta dichi kenya bana ta chamba gomzu de lelabo dille bana chamba ji le bana shedan yonsa kore yamara astara.
And so the next object that can be chosen for calm abiding as part of objects that purify conduct is love. So in the case that anger or hatred predominates, you can meditate on love. And we spoke a lot about love before. So in some sense, we can say that this is something that would be easier for us, or easier to understand how to cultivate love, so that if we do choose love as a focal object for cultivating and calm abiding, there would be no room or no space for hatred to arise.
대다 제 참바다 이용 따야디 참비 기조 다 이용 따야디 착당기 샤원디 결송바이나 이동원지나 이동원 통대지 용거여라서라 되게 삼바남다 제등인지 바이나 이동원 통대지 소수 착당공 아 딜리 용거라서 다디 되게 균제 맹아 되고니 또 맛이 진짜로 소비고니 아니 잠바공수 찍송여레스 다디가 간주 샘래 큐니 펜토가 메바이나 아니 다신 냠지고니 되게 심자 탐제 동안 문제받아 대원대바 찍유인 받이고니 아니 잠바공수 인지공수 찍송을 다디니 관계 잠마 펜바이나 데니다 산지 좀 된디 타 말아 서로 지래야 된다 왔으라
And so to meditate on love for others, we need to find others as appealing to our mind. This is what meditating on love means, to find others as appealing to our mind, so that if we do find everyone appealing with a sense of affection, there would be no way for anger or hatred to arise. And so if we do not find others appealing to our mind, it'd be difficult to cultivate love to them. And so to nourish that sense of love to others, to find everyone appealing to us, we follow practices such as the sevenfold cause and effect personal instructions, where we recognize sentient beings as having been our mothers. We become mindful of their kindness. We develop the wish to repay the kindness. We develop that affectionate love towards them. So that's one way to go with the development of love to others, finding others as appealing, to develop a sense of care or affection to others. Now, if that doesn't work for you, then you can try something else, the practice of equalizing and exchanging self with others. So we begin with equanimity and recognizing that all of us are equal in terms of seeking happiness and well-being and wanting to be free from suffering and pain. And then we use that as a basis for engendering love and compassion to others. And so we have here two methods, if you will, for cultivating love, loving kindness to others. If neither of them work, Geshe wonders if you will find other methods, other ways in the Buddha's teachings for cultivating love.
제다디 디니까 곰친으로 맹아니까 로래야 장친 다 큐니 피기 로르로지 파그메반 땅아 메켄자지레샤 삼성로지 소소소 켄자 임바디 문제 치고 와서레스.
But it's not that we have to meditate only on one of them. We can meditate on these two methods, the sevenfold cause and effect personal instructions. We can meditate on equalizing and exchanging self with others as a way of meditating on love. If neither of these work for you, then you can recognize that you're in an awkward position. You can think that, well, this is really strange. I have here methods for cultivating love and it doesn't work for me. So rather than the system is awkward, there's something awkward about me.
nga ro din ro jora sra ani soso cancer wa yimba di zaw ni ma soro chi ani me shemba di cancer wa da ani marab ro da tinti jang jang song dang de ba na ani nong chu sam de ni short ro do sra.
After all, we rarely think that there's something weird about ourselves, that there's something awkward about ourselves. We think that others are awkward, that they're bad mannered, that they're strange, that they're awkward. And all mistakes, all negative conduct comes from such attitude, being dishonest with respect to ourselves and others.
There is the dental key. Timug Nimbolaya, Tender Gomgore, Soyati. The Timung said the Chitangi Pida Momba Mishiba. The Rosem Masavicha Samalolaya, Timung said Sigdi, Chitan Juguyores. In a the come the Timukti Pida Chadang Zawa Chingingi, Timuk and Denz Mariba said. Denz Mariba said, Mubi Nilu Koranaya, Shinjulo shooting and Timutelaya, Mompatelia, so T Nimbolea, Tender Gongore, Soyadi, Tisungores Ra.
And so the third type of affliction that can predominate is ignorance. And so ignorance can be explained in a variety of ways. It can be a sense of confusion, unclarity with respect to the way that things exist. It can be unknowingness. But here, the specific type of laziness that Dex is aiming at is ignorance, which is grasping at true existence. And so we have, for example, ignorance, which is related to attachment and hatred, so that due to that sense of confusion, we become angry towards some and attached to others. But the specific type of ignorance to be antidoted here is ignorance of grasping a true existence. And so the antidote to that is dependent arising.
There's the Dikaresana that tender some to Vina. Tender the Cheta Jelaya, tender Ginilu Yabach, tender Imbati. In the tender some to Vina, Chetam Cheki, Neluti, Netanti, Muyu Netsuldi, and it talk to yours. Did talk by another Timutada Dogoras, Nelula Shinjulo the Shugulodi, the Tarang Dogoras.
If we can think of dependent relation in relation to all phenomena, in relation to all phenomena, we'll be thinking of how they exist in relation to and independence to others. We'll then understand the way that everything exists, all phenomena exist, their reality. And if we can realize the way that everything exists, we'll be able to rid ourselves of erroneous apprehension of the way that they exist. And therefore, we meditate on dependent arising, dependent relation.
The tender Tobji, and moving Nilu Drupsuldi, Nanzata, Geralda, Hangdong Nalta, Geshe, Gebachik, Chidan Yungres.
So thinking of the force of dependent relation and the extensive explanation of dependent relation, all of this knowledge is contained within the next section of the text, which is coming under the section of special insights. So dependent relation, if you wonder what it is, dependent arising or dependent relation, we'll get to that later on.
The dinning are gilgi nimbolaya, Kamgi Ravi Gomgore said. Ngagir ching midigi, Nishingu Samsung Roch, Nishingu Samsung Gate, Tini, and Tig on Gita, Karsavada, Kanjisosugi, and Namji Yagidroyalaya, Kango Shuch, Chadogores. That Shinda Mishidi, Kamgi Ravi Zadandi, and Jangolama Chimbi. And so Nancy Chevana, and a Sanji Nipa living in any woman Zo Namalaya. Then come get Ravi's dangerous. The Dinji Sivana, and one report Trumbu Yabu Shujman up in your bush.
Another afflictive emotion that might be present is pride. And so the way to antidote pride is here in our meditation and concentration is to focus on the divisions of the elements. And so when pride predominates, we think that I already know it. I know it all. And if we have that attitude of I know it all, it will prevent us from developing higher knowledge. greater knowledge. It will prevent us from going deeper in the development of our knowledge. And therefore here, Rinpoche Lamrim Tsongkhapa recommends the meditation on the divisions of elements, in that if we look at all the divisions of the elements, we can see where we are deficient. So one way to do that would be to go through Vasubandhu's presentation of Abhidhamma. And Vasubandhu was called by Rinpoche Lamrim Tsongkhapa as the second Buddha. And so when you look at the way that that Vasubandhu presented phenomena and the different divisions and classification of phenomena, then if you really, if you go smart or wise about it, then your mind can expand in that knowledge, but it can also be very complex. And so with a sense of pride, we think that I know it all. But then when we go through, for example, such divisions and classifications of the elements, we'd be able to see our deficiencies and recognize that actually I do not know it all. That would be a powerful antidote to pride. You can get kind of your pride to, from full pride to zero pride.
Tirda dan namdo shechir chibi nimbolaya ungjongom gomgo gres namdo shechir chebaslanan da mikhashiro ani namdo da namdo kelawo shoyorasra miji filaya gemu gegon lamsang ngal chi chali gyag medo samsandra miji tis keche khola magola sheban lamsang ngal chi dukja jilag medo samsandra ra kanji miji tewana ngal chi sangu medo tindi be namdo ra namdo shu ke lelawo tindi yungyorasra da di and telaya namdo sheche jobas da di nimbolaya unjong pigi patonen cheba dagara layas ani changatsin semtin deadi pembu peores.
Now next is conceptualization. Now the word conceptualization in Tibetan Namtok has a variety of meanings. It's not just that you have different conceptions arising in our mind, it's rather that your mind is overly discursive. So that's another type of affliction. The mind is becoming overly discursive, and therefore we develop doubts and suspicions about others. Like, for example, it happens to us when mind is overly discursive that we think that others are mocking us, or that berating us, or they are engaging in one thing or another that is improper in relation to us. And so a remedy for a discursive mind is over conceptualization or suspicion, superstitions and so forth, is said to be meditating on one's breath, which means counting breath, using the breath as a method for bringing down this over discursiveness is the antidote indicated here.
Tadinin kebi migba ngades hombodang kamdang genjedang tenri jungnidang nedan nemayimbalan kebi migba was.
Now, the third type of objects that can be used for the cultivation of concentration is grouped in the objects for the skillful. And there are five folds: the objects of skill with regards to the aggregates, the elements, the sense fields, and the 12 links of dependent arisings, as well as the established and the unestablished.
Terda hombodan kamda genjes e tola samdang di dadi ani gyugeni chenida ani seju chegoras dadi tende yana jugni nam su dujabana ani lela ushuchik ro o dindila soba jam di tan kibi mibares kibi miba.
The objects for the skillful, which are five folds, begin with the objects of skill with regards to the aggregates, the elements, and so forth. And so we can think about it, for example, in relation to the way that causality works, causes and conditions produce the effects. These are objects for the skillful or for the wise. An easier method in relation to that is to think of, for example, the 12 links of dependent arising, as well as the established and the unestablished. All of these are objects for the skillful, for the wise.
Anzo ta lamdor la ya jan ro legba da nyeba la ya jan legba di ani ne melegba de ne mayimba o dindri kanji legni la ya ani namba je ya di ne da ne mayimba la keba sa ti chagores.
Now, the last two objects in this section is said to be the established and the unestablished. Another way of translating this section is these 2 points is to take them to be what is to be taken up and what is to cast aside, what we should do and what we ought not to do. So this is also an object for the skillful, for the wise, to think of what are the things that I need to do and what are the things which I ought not to do, and take this as an object for concentration.
Ta nyumu ba jong mi ba ni des. 다지단 공고 세대도 사만한다 누구여래 다바 기부친 순간자 다 뉴문버 종이 미반이 니데세 니용그레스.
Next are two objects that purify mental afflictions. It says here that they are the relative peacefulness of higher levels compared to lower levels, and the 16 aspects of the 4 truths, impermanence, and so forth.
대다 뉴무 종술 될야 뉴무 피게 다 락바 쇼저라 뉴무 락바디 아니 종술 찍당 고는수 찍당 되니 뉴무 차와 다 뉴무기 바차도 제와 아니 종술기 아니 종술은 바니 거레스 다 뉴무 락바디 고는야디 사콩기 시락 대진 그러 사공라야 시라테진 아니 사오마오마 라바다 고모고마 차와 딘디기다 아니 견다 연된 상원디기 아니 베난 데비 뉴무 라바도소 아니 뉴무 라바도소 고넨도야지 용구여레스 디 아니 뉴무 종수 찌그레스.
Now, purifying mental afflictions can be done on 2 levels, a cause level and a subtle level. And so to purify afflictions on a cause level would be to temporarily suppress them. In that sense, we prevent them from becoming manifest. That's one level. Second level would be to deal with the imprints of these afflictions, to eliminate their imprints. And so when we address the first level of afflictions, the cause levels of afflictions, we can use meditation such as contemplating the peaceful aspects of higher levels and the cause aspects of the lower levels, so that we aspire for our mind to become higher and higher, which means to ascend through higher and higher level of concentration, through viewing the lower levels as being cause. Working through this level is a way of putting a stop or suppressing temporarily afflictive states of mind.
대다 다사콩 슬라디게 야 갈카부직 도라 베다 만주게 직된지 감디 동컴 순컴 수면 감 숨라바 아니 그니 아니 니무 락슈디 데바와다 간소도 간수 데사기다 아니 직딩이 감디 아니 니무 락슈 드레스 다 딜레 차와디 아니 줌컴 바세지 다 하이 땡지 아니 딜레 차와디 아니 수메 바세 딜리게 비 아니 손들락바 딘디 메사기 아니 감직 치열스 다 디숨라야 아니 타라된 고몬디 베나 데바디 하장기 동갈기 네임바 아니 차당기 네임바 참만디 오슈지 딜리 아니 zunkom dindijilya ani kena samne zunkom gu yonden gongwondi ani dig tobgi debi nyumu rabadozo ngangi shidraj debala ya chakbadida ani shadana sobadi ani ragba shidraj yungu yosares ro.
And so looking at how Lama Tsongkhapa expresses that in his text, it says, the relative peacefulness of higher level and compared to lower levels. So the higher and lower here refer to how samsara, cyclic existence, this worldly realm is divided into 3 levels of existence, which are called the 3 realms. So the first one is called the desire realm. So we, as human beings, we belong to the desire realm. Then a realm that is higher and more subtle is the form realm. And so when we consider, for example, when we compare our state of existence with the form realm, we can first of all recognize that in our current state of existence in the desire realm, we have forms of suffering. We go through anger, attachment, and so forth. And it seems that whatever we do, there's always something that is not quite right. So those states are cause. They're cause in comparison with states in the form realm, which are relatively peaceful, particularly when we compare them with the desire realm. And so we go through a meditative process by which we see the faults in cause, we see cause faults in the desire realm. We see peaceful aspects in the form realm. Through that, we suppress the faults of the desire realm and thereby develop more peaceful aspects of the form realm. Similarly, there is, in comparison to the form realm, there's something that is more subtle or peaceful, which is the formless realm.
다 니무 싸워내 매봤어요. 박차도 제바 매봤어요. 니무 다지 샤비 다지 당한주 라바지 쇼가나 샤바는 라베 빠르시지 비길 되어라. 디드 제바 지 빠르시드 제바 매봤어야기 님부디 아니 대신마다서 주줄라 미비기 로티기드레스 디콤니 로 디슈친 뭐 샤와나 아니 니무디 짬에 소토 그레스 이제 대신마다 주르디 니무 짬에 좀비기 미바 티레스.
And then objects that are used to purify more subtle level of afflictions are the 16 aspects of the 4 truths, impermanence, and so forth. And so we have afflictive states of mind operating in our mind, and they also have imprints. It's like if you, in some sense, you can say that if you press your hand, your palm to a book or on a paper, it will leave some traces. And so the meditation on the 16 aspects of the 4 truths not only eliminate the afflictions, but also the traces of the afflictions to the point in which all of them are destroyed.
텔라 제반 남종기 미반 남니 차소 학벌 제반 남기 차소 돌하신스 공드다 셰 대차기 님보 미두바 아니 셰당이 님보 잠봉공보를 소버 디다 제반 남종기 미바리스 그래서 아니 차소 학벌 제반 남기 차소 돌하신 텔라 때니 땡인즈 토블라위 미바 캐버체시 인라스.
So then, having presented this fourfold presentation of objects of observation, Tsongkhapa says, in this regard, the objects that purify conduct are special objects in that the attachment and so forth of those who are predominantly from attachment and so on, and so forth, are easily stopped, and concentration is easily achieved in reliance upon them.
단 키비미바 콘도송데들이 키비미바 남는 최 대달리 마도비 간사기 단고비스 담에 도비 항동계와든 제스튼비 신의기 미바 상신 뉴무종이 미바 남는 뉴무지 님부들 된체오스.
And Jetsun Kappa continues in saying the objects for the skillful, for the wise, are good objects for shamatha because they negate a self of persons apart from those phenomena and are therefore in harmony with the arising of the special insight that realizes selflessness. Then the objects that purify mental afflictions are of great significance in that they become general antidotes to mental afflictions.
다음에 또 항동 기와당 지수준비 신내기 미과 상신스 비기다 공부단 감다 견체의 덴지 중이 내다 내마인바 디 미바디 샤야 딘지레스 단 유무 남종 미바 아니 사konda denshimada chujusu 이 일단 유무지 님보 또 denshimada chuju도 단 유무지 님보 제라바 zam마서 유무 탐지기 님보 들어서 견체부 쇼지레스 딱 개체슈 드레스.
Yeah, well, Lama Tsongkhapa makes those comments with respect to the objects of observation chosen for the practice of concentration. He says that the objects of the skillful are good objects for shamatha because they negate the self of persons apart from those phenomena and are therefore in harmony with the arising of the special insight that realizes selfnesses. So these are good objects. But also the objects that purify mental afflictions are of great significance. And so we spoke of the objects for the skillful. We said that, for example, going through the aggregates, the elements, going through dependent origination, the established on the not established in a sense of what is to be taken up and what is to be cast aside. These are good objects for shamatha because here it says they negate the self of persons apart from those phenomena and are therefore in harmony with the arising of special insight that realizes emptiness. And the objects that purify mental afflictions are of great significance in that they become general antidotes to mental afflictions. And so of the objects that purify mental afflictions, we mentioned the 16 aspects of the four truths, aspects such as impermanence. And so these 16 aspects are good aspects for antidoting afflictions in general. So rather than pinpointing a specific affliction that is antidoted by the 16 aspects of the four truths, we said that this meditation on the 16 aspects of the four truths is a meditation that in general antidotes our afflictions.
Kebi miwa ngama tedale surna metos ta dinan mandibaji kebi miwasi surti chayachi yomaris ti shel goba kebachinda dembi shinegi miwala teni tingizu drugubes diwish dang shimbu so la migden chini tingizu drubani tingizingi migwin namsha mishiba salos.
Now, the first type of objects that we spoke of in relation to cultivating shamatha was pervasive objects. So it says there are no pervasive objects apart from the objects listed above, which means apart from what we've covered up until now. Therefore, concentration should be accomplished in reliance upon the objects of shamatha with their special purposes. Those who practice concentration with a pebble, a piece of wood and the like as the object of attention clearly do not know the presentation of objects of meditation.
Have you
got any questions?
Lawyer
Since we covered quite a bit of distance in the text, so maybe some questions. You mean that You mean that if you feel that none of those systems, those methods for cultivating love work for you? And so I'll just repeat the question for the people at home, and also to make sure that I go to your question right. So I think that what you said is with relation to when Geshe said of the methods for cultivating love, it says that you can choose the 7-fold cause and effect personal instructions, so equalizing, exchanging self with others, and there are no other methods apart from that. And so you said that, but at times you still find that they don't work properly for you, that kind of you go through something in your life and your mind might be kind of either too down or all over the place. So is it still useful, for example, at that time to do, for example, some mantras or some other meditations? Or is there a specific method at that moment? Yeah. Dila jumpa goyan dila gyumjaminga du amena dashin nyamje gombaina din nile shen mebachi din soimba. Sezandi kapkala di gyumjaminga dun gomtab chewaina dashin nyamje gomtab chewaina dashi yawashida doimin madovache. Kapdila says kesi soso sempo stokwa chawaina. Da sempo stokwa chabikengi dende goma to bachagirwa. Cheza kapdila karan samna dende chik duna yawo yon sarabes ngakchi sana yawo yon sarabes chik tab mixechi dende nekabla semtes kuyambo soegi sonne champagoengi ko yaga chik dosachi dende tabchik yorabes.
Tangi sangi tabni sonjan dos Laura.
No.
Sangi tabni sonjan dos. Tadini tadini gomne marena da soso cancer res. I think tingi taga semuzeres. Zemun the nyam lavares.
No.
Dichilada.
Well, so to begin with, Geshe said earlier on that there are two methods that the Buddha taught for cultivating love or loving kindness. So equalizing, exchanging self with others, and the 7-fold cause and effect personal instruction. So there are no other ways or methods that were taught for the Buddha. And so, if you find that none of them work, then you think that, well, there is something awkward about me. Geshe just said that jokingly. So first of all, no, it was just kind of pulling it.
These are the Hortabada Karichevan and Digosares. Pi Chamagom to a Tolia. So the Besanjin and Manedanada, Natanada, Chapinada, the Karichena, the Digmar Sachi Yosamaris, Nisame Yosamaris. Calculate that this is not Sigrada. But didn't Hortabada shed pay our rations.
Geshe reckons that the most important thing is just to do our best. We try, we do our best, and that's good enough. So that when we do our best, we can also supplement that when we do certain meditations, we recite mantras, we do some prayers, we might do prostrations or other practices. If we just do our best, if we just try our best, that's good enough.
Thank you.
Thank you. Shall we leave it to you for now? And so we'll finish off with the final Lamrim dedication. For my two collections, vast space that have amassed from working with effort of his practice for a great length of time. May I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose mind's wisdom eyes blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all lives in Geshe. May I find the best of complete graded paths of the teachings. May I plead all the Buddhas by my practice. Using skillful means strong by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings. With the points of the paths of discernment, may I uphold Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart growing up with great compassion in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread, or once spread have declined. May I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace. May the Buddha's dreams be nourished for a long time by even this greater path of enlightenment, completed due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their sons. May all human and non-human beings eliminate adversity and create conducive conditions for practicing the excellent paths, never departed in any of their lives on the purest path praised by the Buddha. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtues practices, may he always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may ocean of prosperity spread everywhere. And so, for those of you who might be aware, so I'm going to be leaving at the end of the year in a couple of months. And so there are a couple of people that will be stepping in as interpreters instead of me. So one of them is Jennifer Y, and she will be here during this weekend and in order to meet up with Geshe and form kind of a working relationship with Geshe. So she will be taking on this Sunday's session, morning session. So if you guys are here, you'll have the chance to meet Jennifer and greet her.
The new choice Martas. All choice your Martas. Kiju Marwa. Yeah. Something that. And me Joja Lopongro. I during Bunti Lopongro.
Oh.
The choice you by now. The Yard Chiro. The choice mena mero.
So Geshe has no choice in that manner. You know, it's not that it was his choice to change an interpreter. You know, if you have a way to, to control the process, to control the situation, you will not kind of give up a good situation that works for you. So it's not his choice that his translator is changing. Right. 사니 그런